I think video can take you to a lot of different places and meet a lot of cool people, and it gives you so much understanding of, like you and I were talking earlier about how when you learn camera and you learn entrepreneurship and doing everything on your own, finances and all that, you begin to understand and appreciate just the technicality and the grit that you gotta push and you gotta go, and people around you are gonna be like, don't do it, or whatever they gotta say.
Right. Ronald Arceo is a videographer and digital marketer, and on my first episode of Creator Sessions, I had the pleasure of sitting down with him to discuss how he started into videography and working with major names like TEDx. We also discussed the importance of consistency in the creator industry, as well as why organizations want content in order to acquire leads, clients, and consumers. This is the Infinite Table Podcast, Creator Sessions, and you don't want to miss it.
For the
All right, everyone. This is the Infinite Table Podcast, Creator Sessions, a spin-off series from my main one. Welcome to the first episode. And I want to introduce Ronald Arceo.
What up?
Hails from Las Vegas, Nevada. He's been working on video production and digital marketing for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
One of his credentials is worked on TEDx. That's pretty impressive, man, because I've actually watched TEDx videos.
Times? Yeah. It's well, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
I bet you if one of those videos I watch, you probably worked on those.
Maybe. There was a bunch, doing TEDx during that time. It was 2000 and something, 2012, I believe.
Yeah.
And this was right when podcasts started coming around.
Right.
And then right when video was like a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. So then once that started becoming a big thing, I found out TEDx was allowing people to do local events.
Right.
So I did one, and I had no idea how to do it.
Right.
And then, figured it out somehow. Had like about 1,000 people live streaming online. Now, keep in mind, this is 2012 when live streaming wasn't like a big deal.
Yeah.
So there was 1,000 people. You can't even get 1,000 people on myself, even at this time, trying to do this on Instagram,
Yeah.
Like you have all the tools. But in 2012, it was something that people really wanted, right? It was called the human connection, and it was kind of when everything was shifting to digital, and I kind of wanted people to kind of remember, like, we're human, right? And to make sure that, we don't lose touch.
Right.
Unfortunately, internet got too big.
Yeah. Oh, if you guys hear that little voice in the background, those are.
It's the fam.
That's the fam. So they're so excuse us, but we're actually filming and recording this video.
Studio.
In my house. But hey, you got to start somewhere, right? So yeah, so he's worked on TEDx, worked at an art institute. He's worked at 3 Square, one of the largest food banks in Nevada, and he owns ronarceo.com. ronaldarceo.com. Welcome to the show, man. It's an honor, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So yeah, as an upcoming videographer, I had the privilege to meet Ron today because I actually picked him up from the airport from SFO, and he blew me away with his knowledge, with his skills, his credentials, and I'm just
away.
Yeah, and you also have a brother, a younger brother, who's actually in video production right now. And you mentioned that he's worked with Floyd Mayweather, right?
A bunch,
So,
right. So, when people start getting the video, it gets kind of confusing, right? They got the camera settings, they got to do all these things, and once they learn that, then what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? Because you can learn all the stuff and then not do anything with it. So I think he got to a point where he's helped me throughout the years doing all the video stuff that I did.
Right.
He was 5 or maybe 10, between 5 and 10, where he did his first camera shoot with me. And I was going to school at the art institute, and I had to do a shoot.
Yeah.
So he was my camera guy, right? But 15 years later, 20 years later, he ends up becoming the guy that's filming for Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather, and all those other fighters in the boxing industry, and as well as in YouTube. I mean, to be able to, and how luck of the draw is that, right? Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul fought, and that was his first gig with them.
Yeah.
So at that time, he was kind of tripping out, you know? He was like, I mic'd up Floyd, you know? I went to Puerto Rico to go meet up Logan Paul because they were training for the fight.
Right.
And this was all within like a week, right? But he had to go through all the hubbub. And then he comes back and he tells me the whole story about everything. And this was just the first event he did.
Yeah.
A couple of those fights didn't pan through because somebody was juiced on the other team or something like that. Someone was on some juice and was like, had to cancel the fight.
Right.
But that allowed him to get more fights to film and record over time with Mayweather because some other fights couldn't pull through. So it was just a serendipitous thing. But because he just started a year and a half ago, it showed me that once you know the skills, because he never went to school for it. He just, pretty much self-taught online. Yeah. Maybe bought a course here and there. But that got him to build the confidence. And then once he started getting people saying yes to him, he just blew up.
Yeah.
Like, blew up. And it's kind of one of those things where, Floyd's like, what up, Joe? Yeah. It's kind of like, you got champs around you, surrounded by champions,
Yeah, that's amazing, yeah.
And that's one of those things where, like, I think video can take you to a lot of different places and meet a lot of cool people. And it gives you so much understanding of, like, you and I were talking earlier about how when you learn camera and you learn entrepreneurship and doing everything on your own, finances and all that, you begin to understand and appreciate just the technicality and the grit that you gotta push and you gotta go, and people around you are gonna be like, don't do it, or whatever they gotta say.
Right.
And you gotta, at some point, for me, when I was getting all the hate, it was like I had to put my defensiveness on the shelf and just show up, right? Yeah. So then once I started doing that, like, people just shut up.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you do that.
You actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
see, people want to see it, like, because you can talk the talk, right? Like, you can talk. There's a saying, like, the all talk, no cattle, right? or big hat, no cattle, right?
Yeah. Big hat, no cattle. Big hat, the big water jar.
Yeah,
hats,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So big hat, no cattle. So if you're gonna talk the talk, you might as well do walk the walk, right?
You might as well, because like, when you keep talking and you don't walk it, I mean, you don't get anywhere.
Right, absolutely.
You just stay in one spot, right?
Absolutely.
But it takes a lot of work to get from the mouth to the feet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And people vote with their feet all the time. So it's like, I saw one of your posts, people leave naturally out of their own volition.
Right.
You let them do their thing, and if the energies don't match, they'll either leave or they'll grow.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's like a client thing. Sometimes you gotta fire your clients, right? And those are one of those things where if you're trying to find an ideal client, you're trying to figure out who your client is, even at that point, it's beneficial to understand your own values first. Right. For me, I like long story. I like, not long stories, but I like interesting stories. I love capturing that. I love capturing moments. So doing a wedding video, for me, that's great, because it's like, first of all, doing weddings is pretty easy because of the consistent, similar things that go on. But you have so much, like, emotion in there. And it's only for one day and never again. So for me, I don't like working with a lot of clients like too long. I don't like working with clients for too long, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to just keep making one client happy over and over again.
Right.
So I decided to start doing weddings, and then just having kind of one-off clients here and there, and they're big paydays.
Yeah.
So having that understanding of, like, I don't want to work with clients for too long, maybe a month or two is probably the longest. I even tried to get a job where I was I was hired as a marketing guy. They put me in video, and I already knew, like, by the time day one got in, I'm like, if I'm hired here, I might quit in like 3 months, which I did, because it just was one of those things where it wasn't aligning with my values,
right?
And you gotta disappoint some people sometimes when you're like, if it doesn't align. Like, I was miserable doing the thing that I love,
right?
So how do you get out of that, right? How do you get out of this misery but you love what you do,
right? Right.
I'm still kind of tripping out. Like, I wouldn't know how that would work out if I stayed there,
right?
But being suffocated in a job that you're kind of like, you got to do it to get income, but it wasn't fulfilling me. So I just started looking for other places to work in terms of marketing. And fortunately, the places that I do work at now, and the clients that I do have now, they're all in the video arena. So I think just in that alone, like knowing that I wouldn't stray away from doing the video or doing marketing, I needed to find a place that could employ me in that space.
Yeah.
Now, when I say employ me, the job that I have now, it's also, I would call that my side hustle, which is the job, and all the video stuff would be more of the full-time hustle.
Right.
But this job is full-time, right? So, but this job is exactly what I do outside of the company. So I'm still doing everything, and I'll have 8 to 10 clients still to manage, just managing on a different umbrella.
Right.
And that's okay for me
Right.
because I don't have to walk into an office. I don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
I can, and that for me was my biggest thing. Like the last job I had to go to the office every day and just, work my ass off over there, which is fine for some people. But being an entrepreneur for 15 years, you kind of have that autonomy and you kind of just want that. So I had to find a job that was going to support my time, my money, and then also the hustles that I have.
Right.
And it took 6 months to find it. But, I'm in it now. And then at the same time, outside of that, I have all these other clients that I can work with that are in, that need marketing and need video.
Right.
So, it's funny because you don't have, when you start, you don't have anything. But then once you start going and then it becomes your lifestyle.
Right.
Like selling and all that kind of stuff becomes your lifestyle. And once you get past like selling on the low, like $50 for a thing or whatever, and you start getting the bigger money, like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and you make your whole income with one client or for the month, then things are really changing, dude, because it's like, oh dang, I only spent like 15 hours this month on this guy, but I got paid the same,
right,
or more, right? So having those happen consistently, I mean, that's the fun part, and then just knowing, like for me, I can manage probably 8 to 10 clients, right, at a time. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of went on a tangent.
No, it's good. I like it. It's good info for the audience. So let's rewind back a little bit. So why did you get in the video industry, and what made you why did you get into that? What interested you?
It's a unique thing, right? So I think I told you before I was into magic as a kid. So when you're young, they do show and tells, and like I went to a private school, and her name was Sister Jean, I think. I still remember her. And she goes, one day, for homework, tomorrow you guys are going to do show and tell. So bring something that you want to show and tell your classmates about. Right. So I go, and I'm like thinking, what am I going to bring? I was going to bring like Ninja Turtles, because that was my thing back then, or like some Hot Wheels or whatever. But then I guess I kind of had an entrepreneurial spirit back then, because I started asking people like questions already. I was like, hey, what are you going to bring? I started market research, right, for my classroom homework, right. So I'm like, research. What are you bringing? Some of the guys are bringing G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles. I'm like, I can't do that, right? So then I go to the girls. What are you guys bringing? It's like, oh, we're gonna like show. One girl was like, I'm gonna show how to sew. What are those headband scrunchy things?
Yeah, scrunchy. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of neat, right? So I go back home, still not figuring out what to do, and then I'm flipping through the channels, watching TV, I guess, and then there was a commercial, and it was a magic kit at the mall, and I was like, shoot, my dad's coming home, if I could beg him, because I know how to influence my dad. He wants me to get good grades, so I'll just be like, hey dad, can you help me? He said no in the beginning, but I kind of like influenced him or sold him on the idea that I would get an A if he gets me the magic kit. So he's like, all right, son. So we go. And he's like, all right, go pick your magic thing. I'm looking. I'm super excited, right? I find the box, we pay for it, we go home, or not even go home. I get in the car, open the box. I accidentally rip out instructions.
Oh, shit.
Because I didn't know magic had instructions.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, oh, shoot. But I there was like a piece. There was like a small, piece that was torn it was an effect and the effect and the how-to.
Yeah.
Or the method. So I read that, and I remember that. And I kind of practiced it at home a little bit. But everything else, the cups and the balls, and like, I don't know what it was, magic wands or whatever. So I brought it not doing a show. I just wanted to show them, like, not to actually do a magic
Do
show.
magic, yeah.
Because I didn't know anything. And then, but then the teacher was like, "We're gonna have a magic show," and I was like, "Oh shit, I don't know how to do anything." Right. So in my head, I'm just kind of like thinking, "Okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?" I get called up, and I'm showing them the kit. Right. I'm like, "Oh, here's the thing." And then, like, I show them, like, there's a thumb thing, right? And it has a hole in it. So you put, and they're like, "I can see that," you know? And they're like, "Oh, you boo." They're booing me, right?
You got booed.
And I didn't even, like, have a trick to show them. But here's the thing. This is the greatest, like, I remembered that one trick.
Yeah.
And I said, "All right, guys, I'm going to do whatever. I don't know what I remember. I don't know what I did, but I remember I did this thing. I put the string in a vase, and I did this, like, whatever. And then the vase stayed stuck on the string, so you could lift up the string and the vase would go to.
Yeah.
They freaking clapped their asses off after that. They were like, "Whoa, how'd you do that?" And then so that happened, right? And then it became something that, like, kind of shaped my idea of, like, what magic really was, or like what perseverance was, and what, like, not knowing and then doing it was, and then, you know, trying your best to figure out, you know, what other people are doing. You know, it was weird because, you know, I'm 10 years old, but you know, hindsight, I'm like, those were like things that I naturally did, and I didn't know anything, right? So fast forward 10 years later, I moved to Vegas. Oh, that was in Hawaii, by the way. I moved to Vegas when I was 13, 14, and around that time I got into magic. Like, you know, Vegas, magic, boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And then, again, you know, I didn't know there was, like, instructions. And I didn't know you had to practice this stuff. So, but I think David Blaine was a big thing at that time.
Yeah.
So I started doing card tricks. And the way I learned it, though, was through video. So this is where it comes back full circle.
Yeah.
I learned through a piece of paper when I was 10. Fast forward 10 years later, I'm on the internet.
Right.
Purchasing magic tricks online to downloadable videos.
Yeah.
This was in 2001. And I remember because that's when I first got into magic here.
Then that was the peak of the internet too.
Yes.
That was
YouTube didn't start yet.
Yeah.
But it was about to. It was like E-Bombs World. You remember?
Yeah,
those?
E-Bombs World.
It was that stuff.
Holy moly. Yeah.
So it was that. And then this company called Illusionist and Penguin Magic, they started doing internet marketing. So there was video that they would show the effect.
Right.
And if you think about it, magicians have a weird way to market because they have to show something, not give you the secret to it, and hope you're going to buy it.
Right.
So the initial video that you would see was a teaser video. It was showing reactions. It was showing, like, testimonials.
Wow.
Testimonials in the sense of, like, "Holy crap, how'd you guys do that? This guy's amazing." You know, like that kind of stuff. And it was action-packed, you know, on the strip, or go to the strip, they go film, they do the thing, and then they sell the trick, right? So the guy that I was learning from was from San Diego, he's a Filipino guy, totally, like, weird, right? And from San Diego, didn't know he was from San Diego, met him, he became a client afterwards. He was actually on my TEDx podcast and my TEDx event, but that was the guy I learned how to do magic from. So he was a mentor, but then, you know, when I was 15. But then when I did all my TEDx stuff and internet, and he became a client, I was 22, 23.
Yeah.
So it was like a full circle of, like, learning from an expert, him teaching me online, and then meeting him to become a client. So it was one of those things where it was like, I could make clients from things that I enjoy doing.
Right.
So I got into all this magic stuff. And still to this day, I still do stuff with magicians that are a little bit similar. Like, I would take a magician, I would create an event around it, and maybe do a charity thing, like with a 3 square, and then do an event that way, and kind of bring these people together and make money. So that was a big turning point, learning that I was a consumer of the internet digital marketing space through video.
Through video, yep.
And then now I'm making the videos to help market these experts, whether they were a magician, a food person, a restaurant, a gym owner, a trainer, or whatever. The launch that we did with the magician that became a client, we basically created a membership site before membership sites were even thought of. And I was telling you, I think 3 days we made like 10K. And that was like, I mean, granted, we took a month to like film and do all this stuff and put it all together. Right. But because I was so into web design and video, like it got done.
Right.
And he started off his career. After that, he started speaking and doing these gigs all over the country, all over the world, actually. So that's how video started.
Yeah.
Now it's like everyone's doing it, and they have experiences doing it, but maybe some of them don't know how to take what they know and
Right.
translate it into actual business or money or whatever.
Right.
But if it happens in magic, I'm sure that,
Yeah,
I mean, like
yeah.
the most weirdest niches need content.
Right.
You know, like wrestling we were talking about earlier, like
Yeah.
WWE, like WWF, WWE. Like how are they still staying on top? And it's still the same product,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
Still the same product. People in tights, play fighting. It still trips me out.
Yeah.
But there's money that comes into the events. There's money that goes into their site. There's money.
Yeah.
I think they have a membership site for their episodes or something.
Right. Right.
But it's content.
Yep.
They have consistent content, and I think for people listening that are creators, having that consistent content for the client, like I make it for clients. I don't even make it for myself. I just make the content
For the client, yeah.
You know, and I have to sell that.
Yeah.
I have to sell the client, like, hey, I'll do your stuff. And yeah, like that's the thing where you have to translate consistency to your clients.
Right.
Some clients like it, some clients don't want to do it, and those are the kind of decisions that, as a videographer, as a person that is working the business, you got to figure out.
Right.
Because do you want to work with the guys that don't want to do it, or do you want to work with the guys that do want to do it and pay you consistently?
Right. Right.
So, oh shit. So for example, my real estate guy wants to do videos and he wants to create a marketing plan. I don't know anything about real estate. Oh, I know, but I don't know. I'm not in the industry.
Yeah.
So like, how can I best create content? Ask questions.
Right.
This podcast, you're asking me questions. I'm giving you all, you haven't even asked me a question in like the last 10 minutes. I'm just
Yeah,
going off
you're
my
just
hands
going
right
off,
now. But there's a lot of like little nuggets and stuff, right?
Right. There's stories. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then having that play out within you producing the content and distributing the content, where would this go, right?
Right.
Like for WWE or for Magic, it would go to the magicians, right? For wrestling, it would go to wrestling fans. For creators like you and I, it would go to the creators. But see, the problem is, if anybody listening has challenges in their business, you guys should comment it, send an email, or find a way to, tell Barry what your biggest challenges are, or maybe one of the biggest challenges you face in creating content.
Right.
And if you do, I'll give you a free website.
Ooh.
If we pick you.
Boom.
All right. Landing page, not a whole website.
Appreciate it.
Landing page. We're gonna pick one of the best questions that we can take on the next podcast, that he can take on the next podcast, and maybe answer some of those questions. But write those, like, comment it or write it down or email us or email Barry and let him know, because those are the things that you'd want. I mean, these are things that we want he can bring people to you to answer some of those questions that maybe he may not, or maybe he can find better answers for.
Right.
But this podcast needs your input, because if not, then we're just kind of shooting in the dark here.
Yeah. It's just a hobby. It's just
It's
gonna be a hobby.
But we want to make sure that you guys get extreme value out of
Right.
it. So
Absolutely.
give them your questions, and that'll be a big deal, because if you're like, for me, my biggest challenge in this industry is actually staying consistent.
Oh, that's
Right? Because there's
yeah,
so
that's
many
mine
things
too.
that happens.
yeah.
Because consistency is key, and everyone is trying to stay consistent or trying to be consistent. And if they fall out of it, your Google algorithm or the algorithm goes down.
Yep.
Yeah. So the industry is making you make content.
Right.
It's forcing you to make content and forcing you to stay on top of the game. I hear that in the music industry right now, they are making artists release a viral TikTok video before their next single goes out.
Yep. Wow.
So, like, what if your stuff doesn't go viral, though? You
Right.
have no single to go out. The
Right.
label isn't going to give it to you.
Right.
They're not going to. They're push back your release date, and that's been happening a lot to a bunch of different artists these days. But that's how they're infiltrating in the industry and making you make content. Like, you're literally being forced to make content.
Wow. That's how it works. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So like all those TikTok videos and all these things, like those are all, I would say all, not would say all of it, but a lot of it's probably, pre-thought and like, hey, let's make a TikTok dance video.
Yeah.
And then we'll put this dude single on it or this girl single on it, and dance on it or something, and it goes viral, and then they release the song, right? So you imagine like studios or in general, like you're being forced almost to make content. So if you're not in that game right now, I think it'd be if you're into creating, I think it would be a great idea to start, because if they're making big labels are making art, their artists do it, kind of sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned like one of the biggest challenges you have is being consistent.
Yeah.
And that is actually one of my biggest challenges too, because I'm balancing a 9 to 5, a family to provide, a YouTube channel, a podcast, and my videography. So I'm balancing a lot because I have big dreams, I have big goals. But I think, with the consistency is, that's where you really have to step up your game, because even with all this balancing stuff in my life right now, it's hard. It's hard to stay consistent. That's why you need, you need some sort of planner, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you need to wake up early every day and work on an hour just to make content, right? So that you can schedule it. Oh, I'm going to release this content Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Right.
And then I have another content releasing on Saturday, Friday, Sunday, whatever, right? So I think planning is key.
Yeah.
With consistency.
Yeah, actually, it's a good thing that you brought that in, because if you're unable to organize your time, right, you can't get it back, right? So you can make all this money, you can lose it all, you can always make it back,
right?
If you're alive long enough to make it back, right?
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. Like, we can't get our time back,
right?
So why not spend on your time?
Right.
Spend time wisely.
Right.
So like, people spend your money wisely. Spend your freaking time wiser.
Right.
So I agree. I wake up usually 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, do whatever I gotta do for maybe about 10, 20 minutes, have a coffee, and maybe for half an hour to an hour, if it's not workout week, or if I'm not working out that, if I'm like on a rest week or whatever, then I'll do the rest, and I'll do like an hour of like writing down what I need to do, and all that kind of stuff. And or if I'm working out, I'll wake up earlier, because I can't work out at night. I don't like working out at night, so I have to get up early.
Yeah.
Like, I could just say, I'll work out at night, but I don't like it.
Right.
So I have to, like, it's one of those things, like, I don't want that at night, so I'm gonna go do it in the morning. It's I got a time manager.
Because you're fresh in the brain, because when you wake up, that's when you're like most creative too.
Yeah. And then like when I'm working out, especially early in the morning, all the juices are
just
like,
absolutely.
right. And it's a prayer for me. It's a spiritual thing for me, right? Like,
it's a meditation,
Yeah. So, but having that just for yourself, just working out, like, people don't even do that.
Yeah.
I mean, they may try to, I'm gonna go work out. I'll try to get to the gym later this afternoon or whatever. But I notice when I just kind of let it go and do that, I don't go anywhere, and I don't go to the gym. I eat like crap.
Yeah.
Right. But if I do have it planned, even if I don't do 80% of the things on that schedule, at least the 20% got done. The most important things got done. Yeah. And I'll have, if you see my calendar, it's from like 6:30 in the morning all the way till like 6:30 at night, and every single hour is, or every single half an hour is like, there's something, I know what I got to do the next.
Right.
People think I'm OCD with it, which I probably am, but my work gets done though.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
The work gets done.
I'm just, dude, my schedule is just...
Is it erratic?
It's erratic. And when I do plan, I have to make executive moves to that plan. I just have to make the plan work, or work the plan, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel kind of like depressed if I don't actually do the task that needs to be done. Because at the end of the day, after my 9 to 5, I'm just like...
You did.
Bro. And then I got my daughter to take care of. I got...
the cool thing
stuff
about
to clean,
the cool thing about it is that there's been so many people that have done that
Yeah.
in our lives that we've seen, that are successful.
Yeah.
Like, Joe comes home, my brother comes home, and he goes, "Yeah, dude, Floyd, he's a champ.
Yeah.
He's taking care of his grandkid. It's like, what up, champ?
Right.
Like that kind of thing, rocking the baby and stuff. But he has to fight.
Right.
He has to do all these other things.
Right.
And I'm over here like, I'm not him, but man, if I can just do like 10% of what he does, or somebody else. Are you into any sports?
Not really. I mean, I work out in the morning.
Kobe. Let's just bring Kobe up.
Yeah, Kobe.
So
yeah.
Kobe, I hear the guy used to just go to the gym and just shoot. And if he sees somebody there, he'll keep shooting until the guy leaves.
Yeah.
And the whole reason is, I guess it does do that.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
And the whole reason is, since Kobe does that, the other guys get scared.
Yeah.
Right? But it's that consistency. Like, could you imagine throwing 1,000 to 2,000 free throws before the game?
Right.
Right? Like, I don't even count to 1,000. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how to count to. I've never counted up to 1,000 in my life, but this guy does 1,000 every day, right? So it's like, what is the consistency that I'm thinking that's not working for me? Because these other guys are freaking consistent as hell, and they're like up there, and they got kids, they got families, they got jobs, they got all the businesses that they run. Like, how are they doing that?
Yeah.
Time management, right?
Yeah.
And it's maybe they're leveraging a lot of that stuff off.
Yeah.
You know, like, for example, I know you got a kid, and you're leveraging someone else,
Right.
a babysitter, to take care of that because
Right.
you know the help's needed.
Right.
It's the smart thing to do.
Right.
To get shit done.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where sometimes where, you know, the 9 to 5 where you feel deadbeat afterwards, that's a blessing because you can finally see like, shit, I'm tired right now.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta get to work though. I need to find a better way. And then at the same time, you know, because we work, we like to work, there's a mission, there's a purpose.
Yeah, there's a
let's
purpose,
go
yeah.
freaking do this thing.
Yep.
And then, you know, sometimes people in our lives, they're like, why are you doing this? You know, like, how come you ain't spending time with me, blah, 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 you know, those kind of situations. And I've had it, you know, I've had it many times.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to lose that person by my own fault of not being able to manage my time.
Right.
I'm not going to have time with this person anymore if I neglect that. I'm not going to have time for my work anymore if I neglect that. So how do I freaking do both and make both? And that's the struggle.
Yeah.
Right? That's the struggle. How do I give time to this person? Or just family in general. How do I give time to that? And then how do I give time to my work? And I'm sure everyone goes through this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure everyone
Absolutely.
goes through this. And it's one of those things that I think if you're not in it, if you don't, like, you know, you're conscious about it.
Yeah.
Most people aren't. And when they're not conscious about it, they split up.
Yep.
But, you know, I tell Maros this all the time. I'm like, as long as we're aware, there's a possibility to change.
Yeah.
You know, and if that's the case and we're working on change so much, is okay.
Yeah.
Because change is the only constant we'll ever have.
Right.
So if we can be comfortable with the change, what else we got to worry
Right,
about?
right,
You know, like I
right.
might die tomorrow.
Right.
Damn it, I might die tomorrow, but
Right.
who cares?
Yeah.
You know, so
And that's the entrepreneurial life, man. That is the, I don't want to say sacrifice, or the investment and the struggle and the challenges that you have to go through. Because when you navigate through life, you know, you work there's nothing wrong with having a job, right? You gotta eat,
Yeah.
right? You gotta
Yeah.
pay rent, right?
Yeah, you gotta
There's
do
nothing wrong with that. But when you navigate through life until your deathbed and you didn't really accomplish anything other than, you know, just living
thing.
life, just navigating through life. But you know, that's the thing. Like, you have to, as an entrepreneur, you actually wake up to that type of thing, and you realize the type of person who you are. And that's the thing with my entrepreneurship, my entrepreneurial endeavors with video and with this podcast and everything that I'm going through right now is, wow, this is who I am. Like, this is me under pressure. This is me when I'm stressed. This is me when I'm.
do you like it? I mean, do you like who you are under those circumstances?
You know what? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
That's at least you're honest.
Yeah, sometimes I do,
You're
sometimes I
honest.
don't. And you know what? It's an awakening. It really is a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
It really is. And but you know what? I like it though, man.
It's weird, right? Because it's like it's this. I don't know if people probably listening can probably have the same idea, because it's this thing inside of you that is like, if I don't do this, like, it's not that you don't feel good about yourself. It's like you've been called.
right.
You've been called to do something. And for me, my calling, it used to be like, how should I put this? Like, my mission used to be, I'm gonna help small business owners, you know, achieve this thing or whatever. After refining it over the years, I'm gonna say it. I, Ronald Arceo, see, hear, feel, and know that my purpose in life is to serve God by sharing His love courageously and passionately with others.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen, brother.
Everything
Yep.
filters down through that. And
Yep.
whatever that is,
Yep.
whether it's a small business that I'm trying to help or whatever, sharing God's love courageously and passionately, meaning what did He give me
Right.
in my life that I could share?
Right.
magic. I mean, I'm sharing it on podcasts. Like, I'm fulfilled right now.
Yeah.
I don't even, I haven't done a podcast in forever.
Yeah.
But those are the stories that I know for me, like, it reminds me, like, man, I was 10
Right.
when I did magic. And then I used that for my whole life to get to where I'm at in terms of not only psychology, like mental state, mindset, but also, like, because in magic, how should I put this? You got to learn the secret and not say the secret, right?
Right.
It's like
right.
video.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how the hell you do the video, but when you present, it's like a magic trick.
Right.
It's like ta-da. And
Ta-da,
everybody's like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
what the hell? That's freaking cool.
You know, there's actually one time I did this on Instagram stories where I was just like, hey guys, look, I'm shooting on vlog. It's not graded, but look at this. It's graded. So I did that, right? And I was just like, whoa, how did that happen?
And everybody was like,
everybody was like, there was one person that reacted to it. She was just, she laughed and she was just like, that's pretty
but
cool.
it's a thing that gets the attention of people because like they know what you're doing. And it's like, what's vlog? You know?
Yeah, right.
And then at the same time, having the content that's catered to your industry,
Yeah.
you're niching down.
Right.
You know, so even if you're creating content that's like technical in nature, vlog to color grade,
Right.
that going out to videographers is like, oh,
How do you do that? Yeah.
right. And then like having your client see, like say wedding client see, like, oh, you know, if they ask like, oh, how do you guys shoot, or like, you know, what's the process or whatever, you know, oh, we shoot everything in this log profile, so we can punch up the colors later. They're not gonna give a damn, you know, but they know you're technically savvy enough to get the job done.
Right.
You know, so there's so many things that like you can put in from your experiences to make content from. It's just you gotta do it.
Right.
And that's the hardest part is like, what do you do? So like right now, my main go-to when I'm consulting people is give me your top frequently asked questions and give me your top should ask questions.
Right.
Right. And those should ask questions are questions that are the client should ask. So if I'm making a business video for a gym or a trainer at a gym, if I'm making their profile video or a trailer video for their clients, what is it that I'm trying to present as the story, right? What am I trying to do? And that's the thing that, you know, that can separate you from lower end videographers to the higher end is
Higher
that,
end, yeah.
you know the difference between how you can make money from this video.
Right.
And if you can figure out a way to do and translate that into, you know, into the client's mindset of like, oh, I can make money from this, then from there, it's like, that's when the wheels start turning. You can kind of connect everything that you do into that space. So like for me, magic, I stuck in that magic game for a while and I got clients in that game because it was what I was interested in.
Right.
It was easy to make content around that because I was interested in it. You know, so that was the big key, was I was interested in these things. Like my brother was interested in boxing because we were working out and doing boxing. And dude, literally law of attraction. He goes, I wonder what it'd be feel like if I could film Floyd.
Oh.
And then like a year later, or not even a year later, 3 to 6 months later, he's filming Floyd. But it's intention, you know, it's like, and then his action plan to get there.
Yeah, the action plan, yeah.
He just went.
Right.
And then, you know, he did free to fee all the time. He's like, do one for free, next one is, you know, I'll charge you.
Right.
And it worked.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the thing, right? You have all the challenges, everyone's doing everything. You're doing everything at multiple times, trying to figure out how to manage all this.
Yeah.
But balance only comes with chaos, right? So because you have to have all the plates moving to balance anything.
Exactly.
Right? You have to have movement and action to
Yeah,
balance.
it's a cycle, yeah.
And you have to move because you can't, like, without, you know how in yoga, you're standing still.
Right.
But you're balancing.
Yeah.
But there's all the micro movements of your muscles that it's still chaotic.
Yeah.
So balance for me, I like the word balance, but I try to steer away from it because it for me personally, that means there's chaos around.
Right.
I don't mind the chaos. I like the chaos. But I try to use a different term. Instead of balance, I use intention.
Intention.
You know, I use intention.
So my boy, he actually has a shirt company with intention.
That's why I was like, oh, cool. Because when you have intentionality, the balance kind of comes easier.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I want to spend more time with my girl. But I got all this work to do.
Yeah, right.
She wants to spend more time with me. but I got all this work to do.
Right.
So it's like and it's also that mindset, like, okay, I know I'm not gonna get time back if I freaking spend time doing all this other money making stuff, which is, I'd rather spend time with her. So I had to figure out a way to keep money coming in, doing what I love doing, while at the same time making sure I don't neglect, the more important things, right? So having that understanding of like, oh shoot, she might be gone if I keep doing this thing and not paying attention.
Right.
I got to figure this out. So what I did was, we talked, and as supportive as she was about, hey, go do your video thing, I was still kind of like, I didn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta because I know the video thing works. I've made money doing it. But it was one of those things where like she wasn't seeing it yet.
Yeah.
She wasn't feeling it yet. She was supportive, and she was like, just go do it. You can go do it. But then I'm still here, like, I get it. I like the fact that you're giving me the opportunity to go do that and reach that. But as a man, as a person that just wants to provide for the family,
right,
the video thing will work. I know it will. But I gotta provide now. Right. So that's where I'm kind of feeling where you're at.
Yeah.
I don't have a kid or anything, but I kind of feel where you're at, and it is really about making her know that I'm gonna be there no matter what, but I gotta go do this thing too.
Right.
But I will make time for that thing after. Like I'll all day, but I gotta get to this afterwards.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's a hard gig because they gotta understand it also. It's like,
right.
You're providing, and at the same time, it's like, but they need the fill up.
Right.
They need to fill up, and
right.
if they're doing things like they're taking care of other things, like she has to take care of kids, teachers. When she's a teacher, has to take care of other people's kids. So that kind of thing. It was like she's also doing all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah.
So it's like I have no right to complain either.
Right.
She got more kids that she's raising than I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
because
it's
because she's a teacher.
So then it's kind of one of those things where I have to understand my values enough in those areas of my life, like which one is more important. My relationship is more important than my job.
Right.
But the job is as important.
Right.
I need to get the money in so I can support the relationship.
Right.
Right. But that also comes in I want to do video too. Right. So I don't make it an either or. I just go get to work and I get videos done. But I have a system in it where, right when I get back, I have a meeting on Thursday. But that meeting is going to be a money-making meeting. Because last meeting I had was, hey, we need to produce your content. You need to make 10 frequently asked questions and 10 should ask questions. And I go, that's 20 freaking questions, dude. That's one question a week that you can answer twice in a year and you're good. You can answer that question the first 6 months, and then the next 6 months, next half of the year, re-go through the list again. Right. And you got 40 different pieces. You got 40 weeks worth of content that came from 20 questions. Right. Right? But that's already game. He's like, I got to go make that. So whether I stay there for 20 minutes filming the 20 questions, he's going to pay. Yeah. Probably $500. $500 for filming 20 minutes?
20 minutes, yeah.
Sure.
Do you go home? Do you go home and edit that, or do you let your brother do the editing?
I edit.
You edit.
Just depends if I have time. That's where it's like, okay, if I'm gonna do it, I'll do it. I'll get paid more. If I have somebody else do it, I'll pay them to do it.
And also depends on the availability too, right? On the schedule
and how I shoot it. Yeah. Because if it's easy, if I shoot for the edit, then my editing is easy. Right. So that's pretty much it. From that point on, it's like, if you can provide that value for a client to be like, and you can say, hey, let's film you, let's do all these things, make your content better, and push it out online and get more people to you. For the most part, people are like, yeah, I'm down. Yeah. And then if you do that and you give them a free bonus trailer video, they're going to call you back. Yep, absolutely. So
yeah. Good stuff, man. Yeah. Let's take a few-minute break from a word from our sponsor.
Need fingerprinting? There's only one local live scan company to trust. Ameriprints Live Scan Fingerprint Services. Here's Ameriprints founder Alan Cox.
I opened Ameriprints back in 2005 as the first private service provider for live scan fingerprinting in Sonoma County. We have perfected the process and ensured our community a safe, secure, educated, and most importantly, a qualified business to handle confidential fingerprint information. I have over 20 years of active duty military experience dealing directly with background checks and the live scan process. My employees and I are thoroughly trained and utilize the latest technology to ensure your fingerprints and personal data are delivered immediately and securely to the California Department of Justice. The minute you walk through the door, you'll feel confident knowing fingerprinting is our only business and your information will be properly processed.
Ameriprints, with locations in Santa Rosa, Petaluma, San Rafael, and Rohnert Park. Go to ameriprints.com or call 707-588-9866.
All right. We're back.
What up?
So before closing the show, I want to talk about one last topic. And do you believe that content creation is the future? Are we heading towards some more decentralization of information where people are just want to be like, I'm hungry for more information. I don't trust this source or that source. I just want to go for like more independent journalists, independent content creators. Where do you think this is heading?
I think content creation has always been a thing.
Yeah.
I think we started creating content in the caves when we were trying to paint the, whatever you call that, the buffalo or whatever it was, to help other people understand what's coming, right?
Right.
So I think content creation has always been a thing. I think people just need to get into it if they're in a business particularly, or they're in an information business of some sort. I can't name any business period that doesn't have any sort of content. A freaking Big Mac is content,
Right.
And they still have to make content around the Big Mac to sell it, right? So I think content creation is, but that's corporate content creation,
Right. Corporate.
right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways. I think the decentralization of it, I think that would be on a more of an individual level. I think there's always going to be some kind of corporate media, some kind of corporate handling of the general media.
Yeah.
I think because we're here in America as a country, I think the opportunity to just be individual,
Right.
And speak your own mind when it comes to things and not be hurt by it, not be, canceled, I guess, whatever. Cancel my ass, that's what it is. But having that, understanding how that takes place and like what plays on in the minds of people when they're watching media, like really, media is a big deal today. And in my opinion, if it's not taken seriously enough in terms of how it's affecting people, I think it could slip in the wrong direction real quickly.
Right.
Which is why I think it's really up to the parents and, the older generation to kind of like slap these kids around a couple times and tell them like, you're stupid. like really.
Hey, I was in that shoes before too, man. Like,
but it helps, right? It helps when they're like you kind of grow up and you're like, oh, I kind of understood why my dad was, for me, my dad was strict on me,
Yeah.
He would get pissed off at me when I get home, do my homework, and I don't know if he was drunk or whatever, but he would come home and just beat the shit out of me. It's just kind of like, okay, I'm sorry, Dad. You don't do that anymore. I love you, bro. But, that was a hard thing to deal with when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But it taught me, like, the closest people might not like you, or that you might have the wrong impression of them or whatever.
Right.
But you can't have them be your thoughts.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's hard because there's a lot of thoughts that everybody has. And there's a lot of opinions that everybody has.
Right.
But you have to stick to your guns. You have to stick to the truth.
Right.
Like for me, the truth is I want to spend time with my girl. The truth is I want to build something with her. The truth is I want to have a family with her. Do I have that now? No.
Yeah.
But I got to work that way. I got to work towards that. Is there going to be challenges that come along that way? Hell yeah. Probably never going to stop. Right. But as a man, fucking bring that shit on then.
Yeah.
Because as long as she can see me work in a way where she can feel secure and safe, I can give more to the work.
Right.
Because how should I put this? When the other half is feeling tense and, unsafe or whatever, it creates a riff in everything.
Right.
You know, because as a guy, you're like, what the heck's wrong?
Yeah.
You know, why are you tripping out?
Yeah.
You know, and then you get into this whole thing. But it's one of those things where, in that circle of communication, it's a mutual understanding of that we're two different species,
Right.
that we're two different people, that we have different communication styles.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's only those things that get in the way. It's really like, you know, y'all love each other, but the communication is just off. And it happens to clients too. So,
Right.
I take everything that I have, maybe backtrack a little bit. Everything that happens in my intimate personal life, in my relationship life, happens in the world.
Right.
Anytime I react to, or I react negatively to whatever girlfriend says, wife says, whatever, that part of it doesn't, if I get affected by it, that means the world can affect me. That means everything in this world can affect me.
Right.
Because it's coming from such an intimate source.
Right.
That means I'm being a bitch, basically, you know?
Yeah.
And the world is going to be probably even more worse to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, if she can test me and I can stay strong with it and kind of like, not deflect it, but like turn it around where, you know, if she's pissed or whatever, and she's like, and I'm like, I take it in a way where it's like, oh no, it's okay. Or like some way where she feels okay and comfortable, and she can laugh about it a little bit. It turns everything around because she knows she ain't gonna affect me.
Right.
And that means in the world, my clients can't affect me.
Right.
In a way where I know what's best for this client, and you, client, aren't gonna tell me what to do in terms of how to, let's say, shoot this video.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, they're the client, but you gotta, as the video person, you gotta direct them. You know what I mean? So there's a thing there, right?
Yeah.
There's a relationship there that they may think they know what's best, and since they're clients, sometimes videographers are like, okay, sure, we'll do what you want. You know, but for the most part, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't work with those clients.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't work with a nitpicky client like that. You know?
Yeah.
So it's understanding that too, right? But that comes in the intimate relationship because, you know, in the intimate relationship, they could be freaking nitpicky as hell.
Yeah.
But it's understanding that that's not going to affect me now.
Right.
You know? So like anything that and take this as a thing, like anytime they bring up shit to me or anytime, you know, person I'm dating brings up stuff, if I get affected by it too much, they're going to see me as that in the world.
Right.
Right. And if they have me as that in the world, like, how am I going to be the one that protects them and serves them? And,
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's a big thing for me is how, and I suck at it, just so you know, I fucking suck at it. Like I go off on shit and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I get
No one's ever
pissed.
perfect. Yeah. It's just,
But I'm very, very aware
Yeah.
of like, if I continuously neglect that part of it, and particularly because I'm aware, it would screw me up if it didn't work out.
Right.
Because I knew the best thing to do and I got my ego involved.
Right.
Right. So at this stage of my life, it's yes, I want that, but I also want this too. Right. And I also want to make sure that I take care of that. Right. So it's doing all of it. And like, even though there's all this stuff going on, I'm doing it with intention.
right.
You know, no, fuck the balance bullshit.
I need you to get, I'm going to buy, hey, Zach, if you're listening to this, I'm going to get another shirt from my boy here, Ronald, because he just said your slogan with intention.
Man.
So yeah, I'll pass you his Instagram account later because he sells his business is with intention, and it's his philosophy is, are you doing things with intention? It's
very important.
So you mentioned that a couple times already. And
It's a big deal, and I think because it's easy, right, to get caught up and not have the intentionality
absolutely.
of making it better.
Right, absolutely.
And you just, I mean, the reason I'm saying this because I suck at that shit.
Right.
And that's the stuff that I got to work on
Yeah,
consistently.
absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the first. That's the first part of the battle is knowing you being conscious of what you suck at,
Like
and
what
what you
you're
need
saying
to work on
about the whole entrepreneurship thing and how it shows you who you are.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, being in a relationship shows me
Who
who I am in a
absolutely.
relationship. And damn.
Yeah.
Like there's sometimes like, dude, why the hell are you still with me?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I don't know if I'd be with me at that point. But when I say that to myself, that means I got to get better.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
if I say if I put myself in her shoes and I'm like looking at myself when I'm pissed, you know, I'm like, damn.
Yeah. It's almost like it's almost like mirrored with entrepreneurship relationships, because entrepreneurship is what it's transactional.
Yeah.
Right. When you transaction with your clients, you're building some sort of relationship.
Yeah. There's a relationship.
It's a relationship there.
And then in a real relationship, if it's transaction, it's business, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. But I've seen relationships where it's very transact. I give you this, you give me this,
give me that,
you give me
yeah.
this, you give me this, and it's very like,
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's just
Yeah, right.
It's just it like plateaus. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've learned that once, because it happens, we get to a plateau, because it happens. I've learned that once I get there, even in a client relationship, in coaching, for example, I used to do big coach, 3-month coach, $2,500 a month, and they would hire me, and I would coach them. Depends, 2 to 4 times a month. But after like month 2, between month 1 and month 3, month 2 is like the hardest month because they're so excited month 1, and then they're like, shit, I got work to do. And then they're like, damn it. And then they really go lower than where they were in the beginning.
Right.
And they want to quit.
Yeah.
But then month 3 shows up and they're like, oh shit, I'm better than where I was.
Yeah.
And that's where like having the understanding and having the awareness and knowing that shit's just going to keep going like this.
Right.
Then the better you are at saying, oh, the up's going to come, the down's going to come. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes the playing field a little bit easier.
Right.
And I'm saying this with, as much like I suck at it. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Like I suck at all that stuff, and it's things that I personally, need to see and that's why I'm saying it, because I
Right.
got to hear myself say it to make sure that I understand it better.
Yeah.
So.
I kind of realized too. Sometimes I suck at planning.
It's a management thing, man.
Yeah, man. It's just one
And
of those
if you're not
skills.
a natural manager,
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
a natural manager. Like
Right.
I'm more of an entrepreneur artist.
Right.
E-Myth, go read the book.
Yeah.
I'm more of an artist entrepreneur,
Yeah.
not entrepreneur artist.
Right.
Artist then entrepreneur.
Artist and then entrepreneur. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's what taught me to put on art shows, which was my videos.
Right.
Or TEDx events or whatever.
Right.
You got to make money doing your art.
Right.
And if you're not going to do an art show, what's the point of your art?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I said, like in the car earlier when we had this conversation, it's like you can make a painting that's worth $6 billion, but if you don't know how to market that, it's not worth $6 billion. Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're not, you can be the artist all you want, you can be the creator all you want, but if you don't know the entrepreneurial side, then how are you gonna make a lucrative business?
Yeah.
Or how you
Or you'd hire an entrepreneur guy to take care of it, right?
right,
You'd
a
hire
marketing
CEO,
guy or
right.
ad agency or
Right.
whatever. Yeah. So, good stuff, man. Yeah.
It's good.
Content creation is the future.
It is,
and
and-
I believe in it. So
I think people should, and that's why I think with businesses in general, like if you can just hit up a business and do those things for businesses, not even just you, just people listening. Like if people can just do that for a business, even just once or twice, and just get that experience in it,
Right.
and then find a way so you can systematize that process.
right, find that system. Yeah.
You won't have to be so stressed. Like right now, I tell everybody to build an email list.
Yeah.
If you get an email list, and this is what we did for the magician. We had an email list of 300 people.
Right.
We made 10K off of 3, and not all 300 people bought, mind you.
Right.
It
It was only a percentage of that.
was only a
people.
small percentage,
Yeah.
but the
you
price
still
points
make-
went from $20 to, depending, because there was upsells in between, and it went
Right.
up to $1,000. So it worked,
Right.
and like that's where if I were to give anybody any reference to go look up, it would be a guy by the name of Jeff Walker. He's an older guy, internet marketing guy.
Jeff Walker.
Yeah, he wrote the book called Launch, Launch, and I think it's in its second printing now.
Yeah.
But that book teaches what's called the product launch formula, and I used to be a product launch manager, so I was a manager for the guy, and that's actually, I managed the launch
Right.
of the magician, that guy. But everything that I've done has been utilizing some form of that formula, pretty much that formula, and every project has always made money. So regardless of the price point, whether it was $1,000 or whether it was $5, that formula
Right.
really helped in navigating a client and help in managing a client's success during a launch of whatever it is,
Right,
whatever
right.
we're making. So if anybody wants to go to that one, that one's cool. I don't get paid for it, but I was a launch manager for him for a while, and it's he's an expert in the internet marketing world. And if you take that and you bring that to a company with video skills, you're like a real diamond in the rough, because now you know marketing and you know video and you know how to do it in a way where people can make money legitimately, like they can make money doing it and just have it run on autopilot.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah. What was that? What was this? Those three things that you told me earlier? Because you said that I already have the creator side down. I have the entrepreneurial side down. What was the other one that you said? There's three things.
artist, entrepreneur, and the manager.
And the manager. Yeah. So the manager. Yeah.
See, even the word manager is like, oh damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
the
that's
artist, entrepreneur, and the manager.
Yeah, that's good because that goes along with like the marketing stuff too. So
Yeah. So like as an example, boxing or any sport, any sport's probably a good way to look at it. Basketball.
Yeah.
Right. You have Kobe, who's an artist, or Steph Curry, who's an artist, right? Then you have their coach, who's the manager, right? And then on top of that, you have the owners who invest in the team, who's the entrepreneur, right? So in almost every industry, there's definitely
those three legs.
Those three, and if you can find those, if you can do that yourself, great, you know. But you can do the top two. For me, it's artist and entrepreneur, manager at the least, you know. Then it'll be work. No, you're good.
You're good.
And it'll be good. As far as the manager goes, you know, that's where you got to put fires out. You know, that's where it's like, if you're going to manage all this stuff, you got to manage your artist, you got to manage your entrepreneur guy.
Yeah.
And that's putting out fires, man, because artists are crazy and entrepreneurs are crazy. So it's like, I don't have that skill set, so I got to hire a person like Mary Rose, for example, to be like, hey, this is on your schedule. You need to go do that.
Right.
And that's where the challenge is, because as the artist and as the entrepreneur, as the artist and the entrepreneur,
we have a special guest.
Water is a special guest.
We have a special guest behind the camera.
Camera guy. Camera woman.
You can edit it, right?
Huh?
You can edit it, right?
Nah, let's leave it on.
Make it more real. It's real.
leave it
People
on.
like it. Yeah, people like it.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
It happens.
The people like it. Yeah. It shows the authenticity of the show. Like, we're not just here just to like,
No,
you know.
but it's real talk though. Like, when you're an artist, you know the craft very well. When you're an entrepreneur, you take the risk. But when you're the manager, you have to manage the risk, and the creativity, to get the result done. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So like, when you get better at being a manager, it's just time.
Yeah.
You know, it's just time management, the categories of your professional personal life that you can, you know, if you break them down. Like for me, I'm so freaking OCD. Like I have 19 to 20 different categories.
Right.
8 in my personal, 9 in my professional, that I look at every day, almost every day, to make sure that I'm on point. But, you know, I suck at it still, but at least something's getting done. You know?
Yeah, something's getting done.
At least some things are getting done.
Yeah. Yeah. My buddy says, you know, focus on finishing, not perfection.
Yeah.
That's
Finish your shit.
yeah, just if you start something, just finish it, man.
Just finish it.
Just finish it.
I've been in that position where there's a lot of top projects that never got completed.
Yeah.
One because of me, or because it's the client, or whatever. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But it feels like shit.
Yeah, it
You know,
does.
It doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely feel that, you know, if you're able to create content, mix that with, you know, where the world's going. In Vegas, they have this thing called the Sphere. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Okay. So I got to start thinking about how to film for things like that in the
Right.
future. So for people that know, the Sphere is, if you think of like a glass ball, and you're in the glass ball, and you're looking out the glass ball, like it's all distorted. In Vegas, there's this sphere that you go into, but it's an actual auditorium where you can sit there, and it's like an entire 360-degree view of
Vegas, right?
Vegas,
yeah.
Vegas, or whatever. It could be a concert, it could be whatever in there, but it's 360. You could see the inside from the outside, outside from the inside, kind of thing.
Oh, that's crazy.
But through video.
Yeah.
Right. So, just understanding that, just having that concept of like you're literally gonna be sitting in a theater now, watching a concert, but this concert's happening all around you.
Yeah.
That's a different video game.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And you got VR and all these things. It's gonna change again, and it's gonna shift again, and you're gonna have to retool again.
Right.
You know, so all this stuff, like right now, all this podcast stuff is probably gonna end in the next 10 years. And then like we're gonna have like screens on our home walls,
Right.
And we're gonna be able to like click and you're
Yep.
gonna be in a different area,
Yep.
and it's gonna be great. And maybe I could have been the guy that shot that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's things that are gonna happen. I don't know if you've ever been to CES in Vegas. It's Consumer Electronics Show.
I've always wanted to go to that.
Go.
I've always. When did they have those?
January.
In January? Okay.
January. I was supposed to go to the ones that during COVID, but they stopped it. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I have passes and stuff. So I just give it to you.
Cool.
But you can see all the new tech that's coming around.
Right.
So like the last time we went, they built this cave looking thing.
Yeah.
But the rocks were screens. So
That's dope.
the rocks turned into a forest.
What?
Right? Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
And you got all these things flying. There's just weird stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And I mean, just that was content.
Yeah.
Walking and then you see the rocks turn into trees. It was kind of like, whoa.
Right.
So I don't think this game is going to go anywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
Just a side note, the first editor was a magician.
No way.
First editor was a magician. He had like a bunch of chairs.
Yeah.
And then he would sit in one, and then somehow he would cut into another chair, and he would cut into another chair.
Interesting.
That was one of the first video editors was a magician. Crazy, right?
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
where I was kind of like, yeah, I'll just stick to this video thing for a while.
Yeah. Video is where it's at. It's getting bigger. I mean, back then, back in the 80s, and they had like the freaking huge ones,
Film.
the Betamax and the
Yeah.
VHS or whatever.
those were the days.
And they used to shoot like video weddings and bar mitzvahs with those. And
Yeah, that's true.
And then the way they edited it was, I
crazy,
think they had to. I don't know how they transferred it digitally because it's from tape, right? And then
Yeah.
they had to transfer it
They had
somehow.
to like roll it on a thing.
Yeah.
And they had to like,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Never worked in film. I'm
Yeah.
sure the film guys that are listening to this are like, you suck.
You suck, yeah. all the cinematographers out there,
Dang it.
the DPs.
Yeah, but it is one of those things. I think if everybody can get a chance to really like get on that game that are listening, who are creators, learn the marketing game.
Yep.
Because that'll probably bring in a lot more money than just being a video person.
Right.
you know?
Absolutely.
And if you can, you don't even have to learn the marketing thing. You could just know about marketing
Yep.
and like use that knowledge in video. So as an example for final bit, let's say I don't know anything about marketing, or I know a little bit about marketing, but I don't do marketing.
Yeah.
Right. But I know that video can create revenue for you.
Right.
That's it. That's a marketing technique.
Yep.
Videos can create revenue. Talk to somebody that wants to create that.
Right.
And from your marketing, from the marketing knowledge that you have of video, from this specific episode, you could use a WWE thing. You could use anything. You could even use Big Mac, as a content.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
All right, we're about to close the show. Ronald, thanks again for being on the show, man. This is awesome. My first episode,
Appreciate it.
spin-off series, Creator Sessions,
Good luck.
and you really are a phenomenal creator.
Appreciate it.
Lots of knowledge. You've been in it 15 years, and I want to be in your shoes one day. I want to be in your brother's shoes one day. I mean, he made it in like months,
Here, yeah.
in a year, right? Like that's just amazing.
But that's all because he left his environment.
Yeah.
And I should mention this: he was stuck in a culinary world since high school.
Right.
He graduated culinary, did culinary for a long time. Went to worked on the Strip.
Yep.
Worked with a bunch of famous chefs, but he felt like literally
There was no job
feel handcuffed in the kitchen.
job dissatisfaction. Yeah.
So he wasn't fulfilled, and
Yeah.
Once he made the jump and said, "I'm going to go head on in this video game." Granted, he didn't have a lot of responsibility, so it was a little bit easier for him.
Right. Everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
My journey is different from his.
Yeah.
So,
Mine
I
too.
can't be jealous. I can't be jealous of that because I'm going through my own challenges
And
and my
imagine
own
the
journey.
challenge that you're going through. Like, imagine what that's going to help other people. So, like, you mentioning whatever's you're going through. Imagine what that's going to do for the other people that listen to this.
Right.
That are like, shoot, I got all this stuff too, and I don't know, something like, and my foot's cut off or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like I broke my leg or something.
But I want to open up a food truck. It was like, well,
do it.
do it. I mean, there's always got to be, you're always, you just
There's
have to make
always
that
an
decision.
excuse
Yeah.
to make what you do not happen. There's
Right.
always going to be something.
Absolutely.
But there's also always going to be something there to get you to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Right? Like for you, probably your family, and getting your time.
Right.
Having that autonomy, and then, you know, doing video with that time, within that time.
Right.
For me, similar, you know, build a family, you know, build something that's of substance that could last generations, which is a family.
Yep.
But as an entrepreneur, I know what also could last generations. I don't even care if they take it, because my kid's gonna work anyway.
Right.
It ain't gonna be like,
Absolutely.
no free handouts here. But
Ronald, where can people find you? Where can they find you through social media, websites? Where
Cool.
can they where can they find you?
y'all can find me at ronaldarceo.com. Just put up my name, Ronald Arceo, on Google. Actually, you'll probably find some of the TEDx stuff, or I don't know, you'll probably find something. But really easy to reach. Just hit me up on my website.
Yep, and I'll link his website on the description below, and on the comment sections. And your Instagram.
Free website. Just remember,
Free websites.
You gotta comment below on what your biggest challenge in video or in your industry is. In the video industry, if you're a creator, or in the creator industry, what's your biggest challenge is. Give you a free landing page, not free video, free landing page for you.
There you go.
We gotta pick you though, so make
There
sure
you
you
go.
comment and listen to this thing, and email Barry or
Yes.
get in contact with him so he can actually have, you know, content that you want to hear.
Right. Absolutely.
That you want to listen to, instead of just some random guy that you don't know. Like
Right.
something that you want to listen to. So if you have questions in any of those areas,
Right.
please ask. 'Cause that's like the juice of all this.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, this spin-off show is for all the creators out there who wants to get into the creative field, in the creative industry of videography, photography, web design, and you just don't know where to start. You're stuck. This is the podcast. I'm gonna have more guests like Ronald in this industry. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's a lot. I mean, you know, this is just a start. Like, I
Yeah.
can only imagine what other creators, because this is technically what I did too. Like, I would just have people come in and we just shoot the shit and
yeah,
talk, and it worked because 1,000 people on the live stream that came through in 2012. It's hard to get 1,000 people on a live stream today.
right,
You know, so
right.
keep on the up and up, and things are going to change again. So,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. All right. Thanks everyone. We will see you guys soon.
peace.
Peace. Please consider supporting this podcast if you enjoyed this episode. If you wish to donate monthly, go to anchor.fm/OneCreate. Or if you want to make a one-time donation, Venmo at OneCreate Productions. Your donation is greatly appreciated. It will aid in the growth of this podcast and the development of a community of inspired creators and entrepreneurs. If you donate, we will thank you with a shout out on future episodes or a personal message from one of the show's guests, the hosts, Jay, Mike, or Zach. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you all again next time.